lifestyle organizing expert and founder of Organize Zen, and I am here to introduce best-selling author and life coach Shannon Kaiser.
Hi! I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome.
So excited to be here with you and to share with you. We're going to talk today about finding your happiness. This is a big topic, and so we're going to just dive right in. Let's find out more. Shannon, tell us a little bit about your journey into what inspired writing this book.
Yeah, so this is my book, Find Your Happy, an inspirational guide to living life to the fullest. And what's great about that is today I feel I'm living my life to the fullest, and I help other people do that. I'm truly living my purpose. And it was not always that way, though. I did hit a quarter-life crisis, which is kind of in your mid-20s, boom, rock bottom. That was me. And I ended up hitting the floor. I was crying hysterically, and the reason why is because it sure looked like I had it all together. I was working at an ad agency, huge ad agency, one of the largest in the world in Chicago, and I was dating a man who wanted to marry me, lived in this beautiful loft downtown, was getting lots of money, promotions every 6-7 months. It was a dream come true because it's what they tell you you want. Check the box. This will make you happy. This is what's going to make you successful on a golden platter, right? So I was following what society said, what my parents said, what the world told me, but inside I was miserable. The doctor had diagnosed me with clinical depression. I was also suffering from, secretly, drug addictions. That was a very internal, isolating experience. And I was also suffering from eating disorders. So it was this chaos of crazy inner turmoil. And it didn't matter how good my life looked. It was at that moment where I realized I need to focus on how my life feels. And that was a pivotal moment for me because I was on the floor, hit rock bottom. And in that moment, I said, I can't keep living this way. I can't be someone I'm not. I'm trying so hard to make this life work.
Yeah.
Oh, it was exhausting. And the air thinned out around me. This was a very special moment in my life, which led to all the work I do today and the book.
Fabulous.
Really, it was in that moment, my inner voice said, Shannon, follow your heart. And so since then, I've been on a steadfast mission to follow my heart step by step. It wasn't an overnight fix or an overnight, aha, I'm happy. In fact, it was removing things that weren't working, limiting beliefs, thoughts, negative people, and a whole process, which actually led me to realize I'm a writer. So I left corporate, and now I write and help other people find their happiness.
You're a travel writer, and you've really created your own path. I remember you saying that it wasn't something that really you had known a lot of travel writers, and if anything, people were telling you couldn't do that, and you've really created this path for yourself. What led you to staying focused on, I'm not going to listen to those voices, I'm going to stay on this path?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I realized when I left corporate, I didn't fit the corporate mold because I needed to be out in the world playing with it. And I needed to explore the world, and I started to travel more, and I started to write. I went to Paris on one trip specifically, and I feel like I went on a honeymoon with my writing because I brought my computer and I wrote, and I shared my blogs. I didn't even know what a blog was then. I just shared it with my family. They passed it to friends, aunts, uncles I haven't talked to for years, and they emailed me while I was in Paris, and they said, Shannon, I've been to the same cafe you were at. You brought me back, or, oh, I can't wait to put this on my list now. And it was just me sharing my experiences of eating Nutella crepes or running around the city. And it was in that moment where I realized, oh my gosh, there is a purpose that has come alive in me when I can share my experiences through my words. And travel is a big piece for me. Like, I was born to explore and see the world. Like, that jazzes me up.
Totally.
And I realized when I was stuck behind a desk, I couldn't travel. So I decided to just start writing and sharing my stories, and that helped me become a travel writer. And I have a lot of young writers or people who want to do the same thing, and they go, well, do I need to take classes? How do you become a travel writer? And I say, just start writing and travel. Like, travel and write while you travel, and then submit these stories.
Take the action and do it.
Do it.
That's one of the biggest things that prevents us from happiness, isn't it? By lack of just taking action.
That's the big thing. I think that's a key thing. And we have these fears and these things that come up, but instead I didn't even worry about what it looked like as far as like working for specific magazines or whatever. I have goals, right? Eventually being a travel journalist for certain people, but just getting out there and following your heart is really the first step.
What is happiness? How do you define happiness? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, for me, happiness is about being 100% connected to yourself and being authentic in every moment of your life. Because we can chase happiness as long as we want, and that's what I was doing. I was chasing it in the job, the boyfriends, the clothes, and then we get debt, and then we get overweight, or then we get whatever these outward reflections are. But happiness has to come from within, and we hear this all the time.
Right.
And I know I used to hear it, and I was like, "Bleh." You suck, whoever is saying it. So you might be saying that, but the thing is, it's not so much about. It's really about removing the things that are keeping you from being happy, and that's what this book is about, and that's what the work I do.
What are some things in your daily life that you do to cultivate that happiness? Because do you think that it's something that we always that happiness can always be attained, or you think it's something that comes and goes?
You know, I'm gonna stick with. I hear this question a lot, and I keep saying I think we can maintain it, but learning to release the expectations on what it looks like is the key.
Okay.
So to me, happy isn't unicorns, rainbow bright, and hey, I'm happy. It's about being present, because I can be super depressed or crying because of a situation, which just happened 2 weeks ago, and really know that my happiness is still within me. It's a choice. It is always a choice. So it's not necessarily. It's really about reframing the way we look at happiness, and I think that's the key. Happiness gets a bad rap, and it's everywhere, and because we're trying to reach happy, but guess what? We're already happy when we allow ourselves to be.
And what I love about this book, too, is that at the end of every chapter, you summarize it, and then you have these power coaching questions.
Yes, awesome opportunities.
Are really, really fabulous, amazing questions.
Great.
Because even some of them that I've been reading, they're when you can ask a direct question that really gets to the heart of the matter, it's hard to really have excuses when you're honest with yourself.
Yeah,
right?
It's true. It's, I hear a lot of people too, they'll read the book and then they'll call me or email me and they're like, I decided to read your book again because I skipped the exercises the first time, which is brilliant because the book serves in wherever you need it. But when you do the work and when you work it, it works, and that's the key.
Absolutely. So because we're talking about kind of cultivating that inner presence, I want to talk about there's a few chapters that I highlighted here that really resonated more so with me that I want to talk about. And one of them is, you have two concepts that I hear often. One is the name of this book, which is Find Your Happy, and the other one is Play with the World.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How did that play your role kind of come into your life?
Yes, well, Play with the World is kind of the reflection in it's my website, playwiththeworld.com, but when I first left corporate, I realized, and I talk about it in the book too, I needed a mission and a power statement to pull me through. And I realized corporate is not going to serve me. I need to be out exploring and sharing my experiences. So I created the mantra, the world is my playground, I play with it, or the world is my office, I play with it daily. Because we're always learning and growing. So if I can look at the world, and it's not necessarily exploring going out in the world, it's about I could be sitting at home drinking a cup of my favorite coffee, and that's still playing with the world because I'm present and enjoying the experience of life.
Yeah.
I could be climbing a mountain or bungee jumping, and that's play with the world. So Play with the World to me is about us embracing every opportunity of life and being aware in the moment of it.
Yeah.
And so I started the website to really hold space for my travels. It turned into much bigger now. There's courses, podcasts, a weekly blog, free coaching on there. So it's really a service place to help people who are feeling stuck. I call it a sanctuary for the soul. So because when I was depressed, I didn't have a place to go, especially online. I remember crying at work, like having to excuse myself from meetings because the anxiety was so heavy that the only thing I could do was just get out of that room and cry. And I would have loved some space and there's a lot of space now, with the way the world's changing and people are more receptive to positive. Yeah. But it became a place where I created a need that I knew I wanted.
Absolutely. Well, one of the first things you talk about in this book is one of my favorite topics, which is decluttering and getting rid of the chaos.
Every time
you knew that was going to come up.
I'm so glad because she's the organized queen.
So this was an integral part of it's in the beginning of your book. Tell us why this was important to you.
So the very first chapter is stripped down, and I talk about that because you have to remove the things that aren't working in order for us to get to what we want. I was at my rock bottom and I was depressed, and the only thing I knew is that I can't control what my boss is going to do tomorrow. I can't control my environment outside of my immediate space. The one thing I can do is focus on what I can do right now. And I stood up off that bathroom floor. I looked around and I was like, holy crap, I got crap.
Holy crap, I got crap.
I was like, I I haven't worn this. So I went straight to my closet, and there was like clothes I haven't worn in 3-4 years. It was just stuff. I went to my office area, and there was just piles of paper, not even just like unorganized stuff. It was just stuff that wasn't needed anymore. Bills from like 7 years ago. So I started to just declutter. It's the very first thing I did. And my tears went away, and I felt empowered, and I started to sell stuff on Craigslist, so I was bringing in money. And what I was also doing was setting up space for more opportunities to come in. And that's why I love what you do, because it's not just like, oh, get organized and you'll be happy.
And make it look pretty on the outside. It's not about that.
It's so much deeper than that. And that's what's so beautiful about the process of really taking, because what you're doing is you're taking care of your space and you're respecting your home. And that is also a reflection of you and how you treat yourself. We're always changing, we're always growing, and a beautiful process is you collect things that bring you joy in one moment in your life, whether it's a new shirt you bought or something that makes your home pretty, but then we outgrow it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I even talk about in the book is something as simple as changing your picture frames is going to create new energy in your home. Homes have static energy.
Absolutely.
So I bought myself a new bed, and all of a sudden I sleep better. I have more joy during the day. Little things like that, such as buying yourself flowers, can make a huge transformation.
So how do you see positivity playing a role in happiness that's actually sustainable, long-standing?
That's a great question. You know, for me, positivity isn't so much about, oh, I'm going to be happy when things totally suck. It's about seeing the silver lining, so to speak, you know, and knowing that everything is part of a bigger picture. You know, we were just talking before we started recording about how certain jobs we had before the work we do today has really led us to become who we are. And I had a really brilliant coach when I was suffering in depression in corporate say to me and guide me in that way. They said, you are learning from the people around you, and this is actually connecting you to your real self, which is going to be a healer and helper in the future. And I was like, what are you talking about? But to me, it made sense because they saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself at the time. And so when I'm getting back to your question, positivity isn't always about candy coating stuff. It's about being willing to learn and see the big picture.
I think that's really great.
Yeah.
So one of the things you were mentioning earlier is when the goals don't always happen in your own timing. Shannon, I have never met anyone to date that has shown such persistence, a model of persistence. Would you share with us? I'm leading up to something here. I'm leading up to some, and resilience and so much more, but I'm leading up, I'm framing something here.
Yeah.
Tell us about how your journey was in getting this book published.
Oh, I'd love to. Well, when you bring up persistence, to me, persistence is about believing in your goals. You have to believe in yourself, and when you do that, it doesn't matter what other people say, because there's going to be a lot of negative people. There's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people trying to tear you down, and people who don't understand. And that's what happened for me. So I've left corporate. I started to write more. I was publishing articles in journals and newspapers, magazines. Yeah. And I realized, okay, I want to be more than just a travel writer. I want to be a life coach and help people, and I want to write books. And I have this brilliant idea, I thought, to write a book called Find Your Happy. And I started writing it, and I told one of my dear author friends, and she was a coach, sort of, not really my coach, but a coach in the industry, and I shared with her, just kind of collaborating, I want to write a book on happiness, and I want to call it Find Your Happy. And I remember this moment very clearly, she was a dream killer, because she said, what are you doing? Happiness is the most crowded category right now. Nobody's going to publish that book. It's way completely overdone. People are sick of hearing about it. And it was just 1, 2, 3, like boom, 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 like sucker punch on my dream. And I remember on the phone right there in that moment, I had a choice. I could allow her to take on her reality and let that be my choice, my reality. But instead I chose in my mind, I said, watch me. I didn't say it to her.
Yeah.
And I said, watch me. And it wasn't even a watch me, I'm going to prove you wrong. Maybe it was a little.
Yeah.
But really, it was about, this is my journey. I know what's right for me. And I had another coach who said it's not going to really do well. People who had numbers and stats, like publishing in the industry, who like had all their, what's going to be successful. And a year later, it became a bestseller and helped me lead to my next book deal and another next selling book. So it was just like a beautiful thing, because I was able to follow my heart and stick with what was really resonating for me on the inside.
regardless of what the outside was telling you.
That's what it comes back to.
How many-
Everything comes back to that.
How many publishers did it take?
So that's the next book that's coming out.
next
So
book.
this one, actually, it had a lot of people turn it down, and I ended up going with Balboa, which is a self-division of Hay House.
Okay.
And so I got this one out sooner, which was great.
So would you say that pretty much once you decided it was going to go out, the flow kind of opened up for you?
It took a little time,
Okay.
but it definitely did. I
Yeah.
think by having it out there, I released expectations. I thought in my, I have a goal, literary goals, to be bestsellers or be a New York Times bestseller,
Yeah.
but I didn't put that pressure on the book. And then lo and behold, I didn't have to do anything. It just all of a sudden took off and created this world. This beautiful fans and readers started reading it and buying copies for their friends, and book clubs opening up. So it became almost a manifesto for everyone else who is suffering or feeling stuck, because it's really a personal story. It's part memoir. And I think that's why it resonates, because it's a place for us to go inward and get out of our own way.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I put it out there with really not having expectations, except for I just want to help people. I feel like I came through the darkness for a reason, and so if I can just put these words to paper. And so I think it really comes back to a testament to all of us. If you have a dream in your heart, let go of needing other people's approval and instead focus on improving of the goal inside of you, and then watch it just take on a life of its own.
That reminds me of a quote that I read not too long ago, which is, discipline is actually freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So the more
It's
that you
beautiful.
have
I love
discipline
it.
in your life, the more you actually have freedom, but it seems counterintuitive.
What's really great about that is the more persistent, again, persistence that we are with focusing on our goal instead of focusing on what we don't want, but instead put the attention towards what you want, that's the freedom. So it's like someone who's consistent with their workouts, who's trying to get a fit body. They will have freedom in the results. So Marie Forleo talks about you have reasons or you have results. And most of the time, when we're not disciplined, we're focusing on the reasons of why it won't work. Oh, I got to do this. So money's not good. Oh, and instead, shift your attention to the results that you want to see, and then focus on the results you're seeing each day towards that goal. And you'll really have breakthroughs. That's how you get lasting results. I'm glad you brought that up, because Find Your Happy is all about the feeling. I wanted and was committed to finding happiness.
All right, so it has been such a joy talking to
Yay.
you. You've given so
Thank
much
you.
pearls
It's
of
been
wisdom
fun.
in such a short period of time.
Thank you.
So I invite you guys all to check out Shannon's website, playwiththeworld.com. If you have any questions, please share them on the comments below. And to continue watching more videos like these, subscribe to Organize and Living on YouTube. And I look forward to seeing